All right, so as we stated earlier, proteins have a whole lot of functions. We're obviously not going to go through all of them, but let's just go through the main kind of points here. So we have structural proteins such as that's found in your hair, nails, and skin. The most common one of these is keratin. So you have kind of keratin right here, which itself is a protein, and then it's part of a larger structure, in this case of a hair fiber. And so with keratin, there's a lot of disulfide bonds. And basically, the more disulfide bonds you have, or the more disulfide linkages, the stronger this kind of structural protein is. So for example, your nails and hair are both made of a lot of keratin, but your nails are stronger than your hair because they have more disulfide bonds. The second and kind of the most cool function of proteins is enzymes. And enzymes are super cool because they're basically tiny little chemists, which just, super cool. And basically, they're the kind of worker bees or chemists, right? They're going to take substrates. They're going to go out, hunt, and find them, and they're going to grab them. And then they're going to either combine them or split them apart into products, right? So you can see this little kind of cartoon picture, and then over the right is a more realistic representation, right? And if you look kind of closely, you can see, right, there's your kind of individual amino acids, and these kind of helixes. That's the alpha helix. I don't think this one has a beta pleated sheet, so nothing there, but you can see how this gets kind of extremely complex. Not only are they kind of the workers, they're also catalysts. So they allow reactions that normally would not happen, right? So we'll say enzymes are catalysts. So let's just redraw a reaction coordinate diagram. That way we make sure everyone knows what a catalyst does. So you have some sort of starting material, some kind of product, and normally to go from the starting material to the product, you have this huge activation energy, which is unrealistic, right? You're not going to form this product with this huge activation energy. It's just too big of a hill to go over. And so what catalysts do instead is, instead of taking that big hill pathway, they undergo some other pathway, which has a much smaller series of activation energies. And so in orange, there's the catalyzed version. And obviously, enzymes themselves are just a huge field of study that we're not going to do justice. But yeah, just a little kind of surface level look. And then finally, another important part of this is transport. So on the left, we have hemoglobin, right? That's what transports oxygen in your blood. So you've got different, components of it, right? You've got our polypeptide chain, right? That's kind of our, quote unquote protein that we call the globin. In the center, you've got a heme. So on the left, right there is the heme. And then you can see in the center of this heme is this iron molecule. And as you can see, it's the iron that actually bonds to the oxygen. And so oftentimes with transport proteins and a lot of enzymes, especially more complex ones, such as ones that do photosynthesis, it's actually metals that often do the catalytic work. And so biochemistry itself is a huge field. And it's not just biochemists that study proteins, all kinds of chemists study proteins. So for example, I had an inorganic professor, and if you talk to a lot of inorganic chemists, right, their focus is on these metals that are kind of doing this work. They'll often call the peptides the chicken fat. Right, kind of a little bit of a joke there, and the implication being that it's actually the metal that's the most important part, and not necessarily the organic compounds. For a little friendly competition there. But yeah, overall, proteins extremely cool. Definitely worth studying, and if something that you're interested in, I'm sure you'll learn more during your biochemistry courses.